All right, so here we go with episode 3 of my year-long backtesting session. I'm starting here with 2025, and I'm going to do more years than this. But the idea here is that, as I'm sure you've heard, there's 10,000 reps to master something. And in my live trading, which takes paramount over backtesting, so I'm not arguing in any way, shape, or form that backtesting's like there's backtesting's controversial. Some people will say it hurts you, some people will say it helps you. Um, in my opinion, it doesn't take place of live trading. So if the markets are moving in an AM session, I'm going to be trading the markets. But if that's not the case and it's PM session or a weekend or evening, I'm going to be backtesting because you can gain so much, in my opinion, from backtesting. You can purely just from the reps, seeing your model, seeing the variations of your model, seeing more price action. Like when I live trade, I take at most 3 or 4 trades a week. So to get hundreds of reps or thousands of reps is going to take years. Whereas if I'm backtesting, I can get hundreds of reps in much quicker via this way. Also, you see patterns in backtesting that are really hard to see in real time because in real time, everything happens so slow. Like for example, in episode 2, just to review, I'll do a little bit of review. Episode 2, was so little trading. I'm like, look, I didn't see anything I liked in June, the first week of June. And then the second week of June, one break even, one partial win. Like it's really hard to get the reps in. And so here you'd force yourself and you'd be in crappy price action that that didn't jive with you. And then you're forcing the reps and then you're getting red days and then you're doing damage to your ego and creating trading PTSD. So that's really why I like backtesting because I don't have to like force it. I can just skip days that don't look good to me, that aren't clear, move on, and so on. But in terms of compressing time, I often notice patterns in the market and also patterns in the outcomes by compressing time. And by that, I mean, if we look here, most people would say backtest a month. I know I typically have. So I started in February. I backtested February and I was down 2R. And so maybe I would be like, man, I can't trade, or think that I can't trade. And then I do March. Again, I'm down, this time 3R in March. And so now I have 2 months in a row where I'm like, I can't trade. And if that were happening in real time, I'm sure if you imagine, for yourself, what it's like to exist in two red months in real time. Like that's 2 solid months of just wondering, can you trade? Can you not trade, right? But then we fast forward and we see April is up 10R, and then we see May is up 10R. Well, that changes the picture a lot. And so in this case, here's 4 months of trading, and this is what I did in episode 1. 4 months of trading compressed into a few backtesting sessions. And it really allowed me to see how red months, like I can accept red days. I can accept red weeks. I haven't been able to accept red months because red months to me tell me I can't trade. But this is painting a whole different picture because had I just given up after 2 red months, my account wouldn't be up, what's that, 15R? I don't know. I'd have to do the math. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of backtesting. At least for me, it works for me. Now I know it's not for everybody, and I know it hinders some people. But for me, it's helpful, and that's why I just want to get in all these reps. The other thing I was going to say that for me is helpful is when I go with so infrequent trades for me in real time, and if I go on a losing streak, like say I go on like a 6 or 7 trade losing streak, that could be 2 weeks of taking losses. Backtesting, it desensitizes me. It allows me to trade with larger sizes. In this case, I'm doing a 50K account and 250K risk, but I've done larger sizes too. But right now, like my live trading is not the 250 risk per trade. So backtesting is helping me increase my tolerance, my risk tolerance to what it should be live. So I don't know. That's a long-winded rant. I guess just why I believe in backtesting, why I believe in doing this. But let's dive in. So we're gonna do June. So we're doing June, the second 2 weeks of June, the 6th starting with the 16th. I certainly hope that it's not like these 2 weeks. I just wasn't clearly seeing price. It wasn't looking normal to me. We had some consolidation patterns happening. There were no fair value gaps for me to engage with. And then I tape read like I think 3 or 4 winners that I didn't take because they weren't totally top notch, and then one loser. So if anything in this price action, I learned I need to be maybe a little more aggressive. So that said, let's dive in to the 16th here. And check the economic calendar for the week. So the 16th, we have FOMC, okay, and a bank holiday, okay. So it could be another dicey week here in June. We'll see what Monday and Tuesday bring. Tuesday is our lower probability day. The AM session, we have unemployment claims and then FOMC. So we'll check it out. I've noticed that FOMC can be one of those days where if the AM's clean, the PM won't be clean, and vice versa. So we'll check that out. And then Thursday is June 19th, the bank holiday. I don't know, bank holidays, we can check it out. They're hit or miss sometimes. We can usually tell. So that said, I guess let's dive in. I'm gonna remove my face. All right, there we go. And let's dive in. Oh, this is the wrong backtesting session. There we go. There we go. That looks much better. All right, so let's zoom out. We're at the beginning of a new week, so I do want to take a look at the weekly chart. Again, I don't. If you watch my last session, I don't chart the same backtesting as I do live. It just takes way too much time to draw everything out in backtesting, and it's a balance. I want to get the reps, but I don't want it to take forever too. So I do a lot of data collection behind the scenes, and I invest more of my time to like taking a note of the daily profile, the delivery for that day, what the model looks like, what I missed, what times were the trades at. Those are the kind of things I spend more time in backtesting, collecting the data for, as opposed to drawing on the charts. But anyway, we can see on the weekly, we've closed above this fair value gap here, inverted it. So we have the previous week's high and low. We've taken previous week's high. I'm looking for no SMT on the weekly. So let's check out the daily. So daily is bullish. We do have this C2 candle. So this candle here closed below this candle. This candle was kind of another C2 where it closed back inside of this candle, just a daily consolidation. And then here we have, I guess this is, oh, are we on Friday? I think we are. I'm going to zoom in real quick to the 1 minute to check the time. Friday, June at 11. Okay, so we need to go one more day. What started the New York session? So let's go back to the weekly. All right, so this week closed inside of this candle. However, we opened up. We, looks like overnight, pushing towards the previous week's high. No tails. That's a, not having a tail, I would more likely expect it to come down and make a tail. But we're also so close to buy side and all-time highs that I could see it just popping up in here first before it comes down and taking this liquidity down in this bottom side here. So go to the daily. So daily closed below, Friday closed below here, but we're in an uptrend and you can see kind of the pattern happening here. We're having a shallow retracement into internal range liquidity, probably on the 4 hour, 1 hour kind of thing. This daily candle Monday opened up, reaching for this high, took previous day high here and here, no tail. So still leaning bullish despite the lack of a tail on this candle. All right, 4 hour, similar kind of thing. At this point, I want to pull up ES and YM, see what we have for any SMT. So obviously bullish order flow. So we do have SMT. These are equal lows. And we have a lower low and a lower low. So we do have bullish SMT happened 22 o'clock. So, and then here's the 2 a.m. candle. Or we're on Friday, excuse me. 18 o'clock. There we go. 2200 candle. So we're just so price is just expanding out. Created this inversion right here. Created this fair value gap right here. Reaching for this. My guess is actually 9:30 will open up, take this liquidity, come back down. So we could potentially play it either way, where we trade against the bias if it fits the narrative. So here on the 1 hour. And the other thing, I don't draw anything in. I wait for price to match time in my model, and then I actually do it backwards. I go find the levels and see if it looks like it's something I want to trade, just a way for me to chart things quicker. So obviously we took this high, reaching for that high, overextended on the 1 hour. Here is the new week opening gap. So tiny little London potentially made the low into this 1 hour fair value gap. Potentially. All right, on the 15-minute, let's check it out. Mark some things. We need the 12 a.m. open. We had no news. No news Monday, so more likely one stage delivery. More likely, not totally set in stone, but I'm expecting 9:30 to open and expand. 9:30. All right, so I guess we zoom in. We can get started. So let's see here. We got some liquidity forming. All right, so one thing I'm noticing here, look how nice this liquidity is right here. So we want to pay attention to that. We have this trend line that's looking nice. We have several relative equal highs. Equals there and there. And then, of course, we have all this nice trend line right down in here, tailless candle towards sell side. So, okay, here we go. Now, 9:30. I don't like it when it does this. What did this do? It just did a 200 tick 1 minute candle. So it's just going to like rage for buy side probably. I don't think. I don't know if I have any opportunity to get in on this really. So it did tap into this fair value gap right there. Let's see here. Looking for an SMT. So we do have an SMT here, but with this extreme volatility, so here's this high right here. So we can do this. I mean, it formed an inversion and a breaker. Here's an inversion. This whole thing's a breaker. Right here. Shoot, it took this high. If it hadn't taken that high, I would have been fine with setting a limit order and letting it see if it smacked down real quick before raging on. So let's rethink that because it took its local high right there. I don't know, I think it still could be worth a try. put this right there. Where is it? BSL, there we go. So we could do something like that. It probably won't come down and tap me in unless I'm totally off sides, but we shall see. All right, so yeah, right there, expansion. It's not going to come back, so I'm going to cancel that order. We don't want to. If it ain't coming back in that first candle, we don't want nothing to do with it. All right, so that high is tapped. Not opposed to looking for shorts now. I think it's just going to continue on one-sided delivery. No opportunity to get in probably. Not for me at least. Just floating upwards. Okay, so yeah, no trades from this day. We have bias was correct, narrative was correct, just never came down deep enough for me. I mean, it did tap into this gap here, and yeah, just not how I would have traded it. So you got no trades for the first day. All right, so let's keep going. So the 17th now, Tuesday the 17th, we have 8:30 news, core retail. Okay. All right, zooming out. So nice daily closure right there. Just gonna note that. All right, so I am expecting bullish delivery. One thing we can see this inefficiency between these two candles right there. It might make a fair value gap, but we can also anticipate it could come all the way back down and retest the high of this candle. Also, the 50% is probably about where it's at, but oops. Still could come back down to the 50% of this daily candle. No tail on this candle, and we have buy side right up there. So just going to keep reaching, in my opinion. 4 hour, we can see created in, so internal range to external range liquidity, back to internal range, down into here, X to external. So It's possible it could want to do some form of a retracement before taking that liquidity. What do we got? Let's look for the 2 a.m. candle. So if we zoom in here, we can see that the 2 a.m. candle did a stop hunt of this previous candle into this gap. And so this bearish PD array is currently being respected. Obviously, we have this whole gap here. It's trying to violate. So I could see it coming down in the AM session, mitigating some of this liquidity before continuing on. All right, so the 1 hour, still a bullish order flow overall, obviously, just expecting the possibility of some kind of retracement back down into 50% of this range. It did tap into this right here, this fair value gap. Is that enough? Maybe. Let's pull up YMES. Let's see if I can get my mouse to scroll any quicker. Okay. Sometimes that helps it. So I'm curious at these lows if there's any SMT. Looks like it's... Ooh, tough. Is that... That is... So we do have equal lows. We do have a lower low. So there is SMT into this 1 hour gap. It's possible 6 a.m. put in the low. Possible. So I see it both ways. I see the way it could open is this is the low and it just rips. Like that's totally possible. And then I also see that it wants to come down further before making a run for those highs. This is Tuesday, so it's the day before FOMC. So be aware. This could be a lower probability day. I'm not going to be as aggressive today. We also see Asia, or the Asia session right here, pink box. London took Asia's high and Asia's low, indicating the possibility for a seek and destroy day, which sometimes happens on the day before FOMC. All right, so let's mark 12 a.m. Because we want to use 12 a.m. We want to short below and or short above and long below 12 a.m. generally. So let's zoom down on the 1 minute. So we're obviously just consolidating around 12 a.m. Looks like, you know, the one, I was going to say 6 a.m. formed a nice little low there. Okay, we'll just see. I'm not totally sold on anything. Looking at the lower time frame here. Okay, closing in on 9:30. It's kind of making a breaker already after sweeping these lows. So here's a 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, similar to yesterday. Just ripped up, massive candle. 200 ticks, not massive by the current volatility standard. So let's see what happens. There's nothing to do here. All right. So that's a, so here's the inversion. So kind of tapped into the, well, this candle already mitigated this fair value gap, so we took this high. 1 hour is ugly. I'm not interested in that. So we'll just let price play out. If it moves, I want to see it move somewhere else. All right, so here it took liquidity and then formed this inversion. So this to me is kind of carrying out the seek and destroy profile that I was predicting. Could be wrong. This could be the long. But see that 1 hour? I can't trade that. That's what's really nice about backtesting. I get to see this, and it's like I don't care. But in real life, I might try to force it because it's like I haven't taken a trade in 2 days, and the day before that was a red day, and we're in this price action, so I'm just going to try to make it happen. And I think the thing to do is to sit on my hands right here, even if it runs without me. It's just low probability. So it swept this high right here. Let's see what happens. Just kind of floating up. Not really going anywhere. Look at that. It would have been, so I would have put, look at that. That's 3R. Maybe I would have done the body. So there's like a possibility it could have won. But again, that didn't meet all my criteria. The 1 hour chart, I don't have any gaps or anything to long from. Even in a continuation pattern. There was a 15-minute fair value gap. So, but seek and destroy. Yep, still just going on. All right, so, all right, no trades here Tuesday. We can go to the next session. So this is where it's interesting. We're going to be pre-FOMC today. 8:30 unemployment claims, 2 o'clock is FOMC, 2:30 is the press conference. So we'll backtest a good chunk of the day, the morning and the afternoon here. Oh, I wanted to keep the... All right, so Monday was bullish. Tuesday, this is what I was talking about earlier. We had this inefficiency between Monday and Tuesday's open, came back down, balanced out to the top of that candle. So that to me is still bullish, even though it closed below this. This is the kind of price action where this just becomes like a magnet when you get this close to a significant level. And it's not going to it's more likely to push up towards it first before coming back down to take all this liquidity. More likely. Not totally for certain. I've definitely seen it where it stops right here and then goes back down. But so we're still bullish. 4 hour. Bullish on the 1 hour. So here was pretty much Asia session, came back down. Then yeah, here was yesterday, just consolidated. Even though it did give a 3R in that one long, that's risky. And I was saying I wanted to see it come back down to discount, so it came back down to discount overnight. Now from here, it can take out some of these equal highs maybe. Let's see. We have 9:30 today. And then we also have, where are we at? 11, 12, 1, 2. So let's zoom in. All right, 9:30, taps into 12 a.m., takes a bunch of liquidity. Let's see what happens. Okay, delivering from more sell side, more sell stops. I like some of these equal highs, some of this trend line liquidity up in here. Took these relative equal lows. I am not bearish. All right, so let's examine this. Tapped into this 1 hour fair value gap. There's a 4-hour low. That 4-hour tapped into this 18 o'clock candle, tapped into this 4-hour fair value gap. So to me, if it's going to reverse, it's going to reverse there, and this is going to be continuation. Let's look for SMT. So YM's already starting to run. Looks like we do have SMT currently forming on this candle. It's not totally confirmed because this 15-minute candle is not confirmed until 9:45. And I don't think we're there yet. So I'm game for this one. I think I was going to do it on the 2-minute chart. What time is that? That's 9:38. So yeah, we have these inefficiencies above tailless candle. So here, my stop loss would typically be this. But seeing how this previous candle dug so deep, gosh. I think I'm going to go for a wider stop. Something like that. So we shall see. That's those highs up there. I prefer if it was this high here, but I might not get that. So, and we're inside the macro. So let's see here how many contracts. If we're going to mark it in, we're going to mark it in on this one. 4 contracts. Oh, it's only 182. 66 contracts. 5 contracts is about 227. All right, do that. Okay, so expanded away quite nicely. We have hit 1R, which means I go break even. It didn't retest, which, gosh, it might want to retest. But my rule is 1R. and it moved away. So I'm going to go by my rules, I guess. So at this point, since we don't need to see YM and ES since I'm at break even, I might watch ES and YM. If they took this high before NQ did, then it kind of tells me I might want to close my trade. All right, so pushing higher. Trail my stop a little bit. Not a ton, just getting it out of there. All right, let's see. So that hits 2R, which point I'm allowed to kind of trail my stop some. I'm just concerned that it's going to tap these and then want to come back with this expansion. All right, so it took that liquidity right there. Now my concern is that it's going to want to come back against me. Because it kind of likes to do that sometimes, I've noticed, where you can get just these crazy expansions, and if you TP here, you're good. But then it comes all the way back down and retests a bunch of stuff, and comes back into the range for internal before it goes up to here. So I've been playing with this. I don't really, so here's a volume imbalance, and it's like it would suck to give back more than a good chunk of my profits, but I also don't want to get tapped out. So let's see what happens. All right, so with that candle, I feel like I'm pretty good to bring my stop up below that fair value gap. And even here, I can front run this exit just a titch. And look at that coming back against me. There we go. That's what I was talking about. Ooh, brutal. Oh, I wish I could rewind that. Because had I left my stop where I should have, would have gotten the full 3R. And this is why, gosh, I like this, because I don't care. I don't have any emotion behind this, and I can just be the observer of the trade. If this was live, I'd be thinking a whole lot more about it. So a few things, like if I would have gone with my normal stop loss, I would have had a 3R winner, which would have been right here. So I'm just going to make a note here. 3R winner went wide due to volatility in prior candle. Okay. And then I didn't give that I didn't give this fair value gap room to, as ICT says, color outside of the lines, So I tucked my stop too close. And then I trailed stop loss too close. So that's that. Long partial, so I can record this later. All right, let's go back to the 1 minute. So price is moving nicely. This is FOMC AM session. So now just more one-sided delivery. Remember, that's exactly what I was saying. Once these equal highs are taken, it's going to come back. I didn't navigate that perfectly, but that's okay. It's lessons learned. I always feel like it's tough. I don't have a great place to tuck my stop. I saw this volume imbalance, and I was like, well, I can put it below that. And then I'm like, well, it might as well at that point just be break even. So I'm like, if it's coming back this low, I want some of the profit, but not how it played out. Maybe, I guess, I need to see how many times that happens, and how many times does it come back 3/4 of the way to run to my TP? I don't know. I haven't been trading 3R long enough to know. All right, so we're heading into the lunch hour. Price is just consolidating. So yeah, that was the trade of the day. Maybe there was a continuation setup there. There was. I could have taken it. I was just kind of babbling, I guess. 5 minute at least. All right, so let's do this. Let's zoom out to the 15 minute. Okay, this is interesting. All right, so that's close enough. So what we can kind of expect for FOMC. So here's my notes on trading FOMC. So we can see 2 p.m. tends to be the Judas. 2:30 is an opposing run. We want to get in on this opposing run. So here's an example of the Judas, and then the opposing run, and then the actual move. So this was a double Judas, 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 and then the move. So after 2:30, we want to look for reversals. But sometimes it can happen at 2. Okay, so there is the release right there. Still just consolidating around 12 a.m. I don't want to see it consolidating. I want to see it pushing into some level. Nothing. Nothing totally clear. I want to look at YM and ES at this point on the 1 hour chart. ES, YM. All right. Not totally clear to me. Okay, so here we got some consolidation, some manipulation, some more distribution. Okay, so here we got something maybe. So I don't like, so the 1 hour's bearish order flow. This fair value gap right here, it got respected. Well, it closed above and then got disrespected. Came back down, tapped into this fair value gap down in here. Where is it? Right there's my drawing tool. That got disrespected. There's a volume imbalance right there. Okay, so there is a volume imbalance on the 1 hour. It likes those. That could be why it wanted to come back down so deep into discount. We're below 12 a.m. I am still bullish. I think this thing wants higher. Just looking a little ugly on the 4 hour. So the 15 minute has this current gap, so I could expect price to the very least come up into here. So I'm looking for a SMT, and I don't see any SMT. So no trade if I can't find SMT. I mean, it's not that hard of a comparison, but I just want to double check. Okay, so no SMT, no trade. And here would have been the inversion. So this red line was the 15-minute, and that's where I was saying it can balance back to that 15-minute. Even if it's still bearish, it can come up to there. Okay, looks like it's disrespecting that, at least at the moment, and respecting it. So, okay. I think I'm good on this day. I'm not seeing it very clearly. Yeah, I'm good. All right, so let's check this out. Let's refresh here. All right, so we are up 1R on today. Didn't get a fill, no trades. 1R here. And yeah, cool. All right, well, let's keep going on to Thursday, the 19th. Let's check the calendar. Oh, it's a bank holiday. We'll check it out. There's been so few trades this month that I'm okay with checking it out. So let's see. All right, so start of the New York session. So look at this here on the daily chart. There's that drawn liquidity right there. Buy side. Buy side liquidity. So we're kind of consolidating in here. Tuesday closed bearishly, but it's still bullish in my opinion. So we took previous day low. Let's look at the correlated assets, ES and YM. They both took previous day low. Okay. So here on the 4-hour chart, coming back down into discount of this range. Some relative equal lows right here. Am I missing any higher time frame bearish SMT? Let's check that out. I don't want to trust it a ton if it's there, but I also want to take it into account. So there is no bearish SMT. So okay, let's keep going on the 1 hour. So same thing, 1 hour's bullish, but we're in a bearish retracement. Oh, the new week opening gap, super important. This right here. So I'm actually going to leave that on the chart. I don't know if I have a drawing. I do have a drawing for new week opening gap. All right, like that. I am going to leave that on the chart. What else? So we'll go to the 15-minute. So it looks like London took Asia's low. I'm guessing New York's going to be low of the day and high of the day. We're also on a bank holiday, so who knows? Could be a compression candle. So if it's a bank, okay, what's that? 9 o'clock. Okay, just 9 o'clock doing something. Who knows what? Okay, closing in on 9:30. All right, 9:30 is here. Don't really see anything yet. I don't like how it took all this liquidity up in here. Wish it would have left these equal highs. Um, no real solid gaps. Oh, here we go. We got some movement down. All right, so we're blowing through this new week opening gap. All right, 9:55. And it didn't close above that. I'm curious. Let's see if we have any SMT. So currently forming SMT, not necessarily confirmed yet because this candle hasn't closed yet, but we will be confirming in about 5 minutes the SMT. So is SMT dug into the bottom of the new week opening gap. I think for me, I do want to see a 2 or 3 minute close above this gap. This is the 1 minute here. Didn't close above that gap yet. So we'll look at the 2 minute chart. Okay, I don't know about this. It's just kind of floating up. I'm not interested. All right, let's go back to the 1 minute. Just kind of going sideways. All right, just floating up, heading towards lunchtime. Okay, lunchtime. So reviewing this day here, did we miss anything? Did I miss anything? No. No trades. So that's okay. No trades for Thursday. Let's keep going. Friday has no news. Oh, interesting. Yeah, no news. Okay. So let's zoom out here. So we can see the daily is just consolidating where Monday delivered bullishly, Tuesday, a little bearish delivery rebalanced, and now Wednesday, Thursday, we're just Tuesday, Wednesday, I guess Thursday's a bank holiday, so now Friday, we're just kind of consolidating. Oops, went to the wrong chart. Forming a little bit of a volume imbalance down in here. Took the previous day low. Took the previous day low on ES. And YM all took the previous day low. Okay, cool. All right, so here in the 4 hour, we came down into discount, gapped up, and now 2 a.m. tapped into this fair value gap volume imbalance combo and continued on. So here the 1 hour, we got bullish order flow. Take a quick look at ES and YM on the 1 hour. So here we have bullish SMT down here at these lows, which occurred in Asia session. All right, so we got 12 a.m. Oh, that didn't occur in Asia session. That was the low was formed in the bank holiday afternoon, and when the market opened for the evening, it just rallied. Gotcha. Okay. 9:30. All right, not too pretty. It's looking like one-sided delivery. No news. Whoa, stop candles, stop. No news on today. All right, so there's 9:30, swept liquidity. Looks like it's doing a little bit of a seek and destroy kind of thing. I wanted on my chart some of the liquidity pools. So we did have this liquidity pool. This one, this one. So look at this. This thing is just pushing hard, and it's been pushing hard since 7:30 in the morning. I would expect some kind of retracement. So here it formed an inversion at 9:46. So that was outside of macro after taking liquidity. I more so want long, so I would love for it to come down, take some of this, and then continue. Short would have played out, but all outside of macro. Okay, not giving me any nice gaps to get it to get in and along, so keep clicking. There we go. Nice little push down. Some more liquidity right there that looks nice. Still doesn't look great right there. Okay. All right, so now as far down in discount, like this is just so deep. We got to zoom out and see what's going on. So retested 12 a.m., which is fine after taking this buy side up in here. That's a lot of volatility already. The 1 hour formed a C2 reversal candle. We'll see. It might be enough. It might also want some of this gap down in here. So checking out what ES, YM are doing. So we kind of have an SMT. It's not, I like to use swings, but there's not really, like right here is a swing, but not present here on this chart. Retesting London 50%. I mean, it's not a bad place for a long. Like it's either going to be here or it's going to come all the way down into here. So which is it? Well, I don't know for sure. I don't like how this is looking. It's building some liquidity down in here. And that's my one hang up right there. So I was thinking about going to the 3-minute chart and seeing if that gap gets a close above. I guess the 3-minute, oh, I can't use the 3-minute for that. Look at that. I didn't trust it because of this. So was this a bearish continuation? Maybe. There's a liquidity sweep. No 15-minute level though. Okay, let's just keep going. All right, so kind of not perfect, but let's take a look. So 1 hour close, swept the previous 1 hour low, came back down into this gap here. Huge imbalance. We're at internal range. Liquidity. We're forming SMTs. I think it's worth it, worth a shot. Only thing tripping me out is these relative equal lows. But as I've been seeing lately, feels like nothing's perfect. So here's our gap. So let's see here. We have IFVG, a multiple. I see there's two. See how there's two gaps. We have a volume imbalance. That's high probability. We have SMT. We have a new day opening gap, and 4H1 H fair value gap. We have 4-hour liquidity. We have high probability targets, which are gaps. So with daily bias, and this is where it's a little tough. It's like I could almost call it, with terms of being with order flow, it's it's against the 1 and the 4-hour order flow, but in retracement for bullish order flow. So like, hope that makes sense. Maybe I'll zoom out a little bit. Okay. So like on the 1 hour, kind of depends on how you want to look at it, because here's bearish order flow. So the higher the overall structure is bullish, then here's bearish. Then we switched back to bullish, but now we created a change in state of delivery from our bearish delivery, but I'm expecting that change in state to be disrespective. So come on. Ultimately, I'm going to call it with order flow. I am going to note those lows because I don't like them a ton, but let's see. Okay, I want to see it. There we go. Nice little push. So 1 hour is about those candles. Okay, so we hit 1 hour, so I go break even. Now this time I'm just going to play it until it hits one or the other, I think, unlike the last trade. All right, so some consolidation. All right, so now this one's actually giving me swings to tuck it. Because I say 2R, I can trail my stop loss, which is here. So I can trail my stop. What I don't want to get tapped out to have it go to my TP. So I don't know. Because I see there's all these targets. There's a tailless candle right there. It could come back down for that tailless candle and then hit TP. So I don't know. So at this point, gosh, this is a similar thing. It's like I don't want it to come all the way back down here, take this, and then come and get me. And I could have taken at least half profit, you know? But trust the process, I guess. Oh my gosh, look at this. So at this point, I might as well just go back to break even. So that's what I was saying, coming back down for these lows right there. I'm going to remove that. It's easier to see. So probably going to just tap me out. So here's these equal lows. Coming for them. just sideways. Boo. So here this kind of opposes the other trade where trailing my stop would have been beneficial. I would have gotten a chunk of it at least. So, and that's the end of that session, I guess, right there. 1 o'clock. My stop loss was where it should have been. You know, it just went sideways. I think it's okay. I think that was okay. Not what I wanted necessarily for the results for the day, but, you know, a break-even trade. So I'm up 1 R on the week. Meh. 1/2 R for that previous 2 weeks. So yeah, let's review the week a little bit. All right then, so let's recap this week for June. Obviously I had 1 partial win, 1 break even. But this doesn't tell really much, you know. Let's bring this in. And this is why I like to look at this. I also have a Discord journal that I put a lot of this stuff in, but in this calendar format, it keeps me short and concise so I can just get to the point. So like here on Monday was no fill and it was a W and there was no other setup. So cool, I did what I could. On this day, it was 1 setup that was seek and destroy and I didn't take it. So it was a winner. I'm going to note that there. But that was my choice. I saw it as low probability, so I didn't take it. Here I took that partial W by trailing my stop loss too close. Then on Thursday, there was no model, so no trades. And then on Friday, very similar thing. Break even on the setup, it would have given 2R. Otherwise, there was nothing else. So the overall theme is there just wasn't many setups for me. And then the only mistake that I made one time was trailing my stop loss too close. So at the very least, when I look at that, I don't feel so, what's the word? I don't feel like I underperformed for this 3rd week. But I am noticing the pattern, which has been weird for June. It's a summer month. Whereas, you know, I feel like I get more trades in normally. And then here was no trades this whole week. Nothing looked good. And I think there were 3 or 4 winners, 1 or 2 losers that I didn't take, that I was tape reading. Here on this week, the theme was it wasn't retracing and price wasn't clean, so I wasn't getting too many setups. Here's a 1 similar to this Wednesday. I actually trailed my stop too close and got a partial W on this one. So yeah, you know, I'm going to keep trading, obviously, and hope that I can get more setups and more trades in, because I certainly want way more than this. I just haven't been getting it for different reasons. They were ugly here. NQ wasn't retracing to my levels to get me trades here in this week. And then this week, there just wasn't many setups. But I noticed that things like this tend to come in patterns. So I'm anticipating that I'm going to start getting more trades, you know, any day now. But other than that, I guess, you know, the week was essentially 100% win rate. Or, sorry, this month. We're looking at this month, not this week. But up 300 on the week. Effectively, I mean, this says this is a winning trade. To me, it's a break even. So I had 1 win, 1 break even. I need to change that threshold and to show this is break even. But I guess that's probably going to wrap it up for episode 3. And I'll move on to recording June week 4 in the next episode.